Hi everybody, I'm Susan Mulvihill. Have you been overwintering the annual geraniums that you grew last year? I'm referring to pelargoniums, and this is something I love to do every year because it's a great way to save money and it's so easy. Now that it's February, it's time to pot up those overwintered geraniums. So that's today's topic, but I want to give you a little bit of background first. Overwintering geraniums involves digging up the plants before the fall frosts arrive, knocking the soil off the roots, snipping off any flowers or flower buds, placing the plants into a cardboard box or other container, and storing them in a cool, dark place for the winter. So as I mentioned earlier, during the month of February is when I pull the plants out of their boxes, prep them a bit, pot them up, and help them to come out of dormancy. And that's what I'm going to do today. Now, if you have never overwintered geraniums, I have to prepare you for the fact that the plants will look awful at this point. But believe it or not, there's life in these plants and they will start growing again. Here's the routine. Okay, so I've pre-moistened some potting soil and I've put down some newspaper because this is a rather messy project. And then I've got different sizes of pots depending upon the size of the root system of each plant that I'm bringing back to life. This first plant is looking awesome. It has definitely come through the overwintering process well, and I know that because there are some tiny leaves that are probably hard for you to see, but they're coming out of the stems in different places. That is so amazing when you consider they've had no water through the entire overwintering process, which is from about October to February. So the first thing I want to do is remove the leaves, and that way I can really take a close look at the stems, trim off anything that has died, and then we're ready to go. Okay, now with the majority of the leaves out of the way, I can take a close look at the stems. And what I'm looking for is any brown tissue that has shriveled up or looks super dry, and those are the types of things I'm going to be trimming off. And of course, what I really want to see is lots of green tissue, and I do see quite a bit of that, so that's awesome. I've got some small pruners here, and I'm going to work at removing the dead tissue. And the first one I want to take off is right up here. There's a new leaf coming out. I might do this in 2 steps. I like to cut right above a node on the branch here. This is definitely brown to here. This one looks like most of it needs to come off. This is definitely dead, so we'll take that off. This one is shrivelly right above here, so I'm going to go ahead and trim it back to this spot right there. This one needs to come off. This one probably to about here. This definitely needs to be trimmed back. Let's go to here. Again, I'm just looking at the state of the tissue. Is it shriveled up or does it look nice and green? This branch looks pretty iffy. I'm going to go ahead and remove the whole thing. It might have been okay, but it's okay to take a bit off. That looks pretty good. So next I need to pot it up. Since this is a pretty nice sized plant and also has a good sized root system, I'm going to use a large pot. And what I like to do, since they have such large drainage holes, is to put a little coffee filter in the bottom so that soil won't wash out the bottom when I water it over the next couple of months. And then I'm going to fill the pot with my lightly moistened potting soil. Okay, so I put soil up to the base of the geranium plant, and I've pushed in the soil well to make sure there's no air pockets. And I'm going to put this along with the other geranium plants into a nice bright area of our home so that they can start to grow again. Don't worry if some plants seem really leggy. The goal for this initial potting up is to get them to start growing again. I also feed them with a little Alaska fish fertilizer to give them a boost. Once the plants are growing well, you can trim some of the branches back to make them a bit more compact. This will actually encourage more growth. You can even start more plants with some of the trimmings. I also recommend pinching off any flower buds because you want the plants to focus their energy into growing leaves. About 2 weeks before your last frost, start the hardening off process to help them acclimate to the intensity of the sunlight. This involves moving your plants outside into an area where there's either shade or filtered light for 1 hour and moving them back inside. Do it again the next day for 2 hours and move them inside. And then from the 3rd day on, keep moving them out to more and more light, and after a week to 10 days, they will be accustomed to the sunlight. And that's all there is to it. I don't know if you've noticed in recent years, but the cost of annual plants such as geraniums has really climbed. So this is a great way to save some gardening dollars. Now, before I sign off for the day, I have a little bit of bonus content for you. In addition to overwintering geraniums, I also love overwintering canna lilies. They are such gorgeous flowers, and I love having them in our garden every year. The overwintering process is similar to overwintering geraniums with a couple of differences. So you actually let the canna lilies get lightly frosted in the fall, and then you dig them up, wash the soil off of the roots, bring them indoors, and for a couple of days put them somewhere that's fairly sunny and let the roots dry off a bit. Then you move them into a cardboard box and put them somewhere cool and dark like a basement, and they will overwinter beautifully for you. And the cool thing is, even if they look dead as a doornail in the spring, they still are alive and they will grow for you beautifully. So I want to show you my overwintered canna lily roots because I'm going to pot them up today as well. So I've got 6 different canna lily root clumps, and if you look here, there is a sprout that is just coming out. And these are dry as can be. Here's a little something starting here. Here's some in this spot. So there's lots of sprouts in there, and I know that they're going to grow beautifully for us. So I'm going to pot these up just like I potted up the geraniums. I'll put them somewhere light and let them just start growing. And I want to reiterate, even if they look like they're dead, they will come back. I've had so many times where I've thought, oh, that's not going to come back, but I'll put it in a pot, and all of a sudden, here's new shoots. So they are tough plants. Thanks so much for watching today, everybody. Happy gardening.